Recently, large social media platforms such as Twitter and Facebook have been making an effort to de-amplify what they consider to be fake news. Unsurprisingly, a decent portion of that fake news consists of conspiracy theories. In fact, infamous conspiracy theorist Alex Jones has seen his oddly popular YouTube channel removed in order to eliminate fake news. For those of us who don't subscribe to the same conspiracy theories Alex Jones peddles, we never really understood the appeal in the first place. So, today on Brief Brain Facts, we're discussing conspiracy theories, the brain, and why people are so attracted to false information, or at least information that hasn't been confirmed to be true. A conspiracy theory is the belief in the occurrence or even non-occurrence of a situation or an event that is brought about by a small group of people without solid confirmatory evidence supporting said belief. Some popular conspiracy theories in the United States include the denial of climate change and that former President Barack Obama was not born in the United States. According to researchers, anyone of any ideology is capable of believing in and even creating conspiracy theories. In fact, they note that half of all Americans believe in one or more conspiracy theories, which naturally begs the question, why? Two concepts may be working together that may result in one believing the seemingly unbelievable. The first being our need for order in an arguably unpredictable world, and the second being the errors we make about the world and how others operate. Our brains need to be able to make sense of the world around us. We need order and to be able to predict outcomes. In order to fulfill this need, our brains look for patterns. Some researchers suggest that when this need isn't met, it creates anxiety, because we don't like ambiguity or uncertainty. This uncertainty may manifest in different ways, but importantly, we solve matters of unpredictability in some interesting ways. Researchers have found that feelings of uncertainty are associated with increased activation of the amygdala, an area of the brain associated with fear. These feelings lead people to recognize patterns where no patterns existed, and once patterns were seen, amygdala activation reduced. So, while feeling as if they lacked control over their situation, these participants attempted to make sense of their surroundings by finding a clear association between random, unrelated things where no pattern existed. However, some patterns seen during times of ambiguity or uncertainty may really exist, but also some patterns may not be as factual as they appear to be. Researchers also believe that humans have an innate ability to detect coincidences, which can lead to accurately identifying causal relationships. In order to find meaning in coincidences, we use our existing understanding of the world, and this understanding is derived from culture, friends and family, and personal experiences. Yet, because we're using previous experience in order to better understand our new ones, we're introducing a factor many people tend to disregard when it comes to interpreting events and other people's behaviors, and that's bias. Researchers have pointed to different bias types that help explain why we may attribute coincidences incorrectly. The big culprit being the confirmation bias, which is the tendency to interpret information in ways that confirm one's existing beliefs. Scientists have discovered that when people are presented information that is counter to their belief systems, it has the potential of inducing discomfort. This is seen in brain activation patterns where the prefrontal cortex, an area associated with making judgments and decision-making, were underactive, while areas in the brain associated with emotional distress, such as the amygdala and cingulate cortex, were overactive when provided with stimuli that did not conform to one's beliefs. When provided with stimuli that did support their beliefs, areas of the brain associated with reward processing, the orbitofrontal cortex and the nucleus accumbens, were activated. This demonstrates a potential brain response associated with the confirmation bias. After all, as I can attest, it feels pretty good to be right about everything you already knew you were right about. What? It's true. Altogether, bias isn't bad, but we need to recognize that bias may have an impact on how we interpret the relationship between co-occurring events. As an example, researchers have found that those high in religiosity are more likely to find meaning in coincidences and see connections among people and their surroundings where no meaningful connections exist. Thus, these highly spiritual and religious people are utilizing their existing understanding of the world to find meaning and associations in co-occurring but unrelated events. This highlights an error in our thinking when we interpret the co-occurrence of events. Regarding conspiracy theories, these theories are an explanation for the co-occurrence of an event that has taken place. Researchers note that bias plays a key role in believing in and maintaining of these conspiracies. For instance, people prone to conspiracy theories are more likely to process an event selectively, as opposed to viewing the event in a broader context. This attentional bias is selective in that conspiracy theorists use features of specific coincidences to confirm their worldviews, the confirmation bias, while disregarding features about a specific coincidence that counters or questions their views. In these cases, coincidences we all use in order to understand causal relationships between events become conspiracy theories that are reinforced through selective features that confirm a particular set of beliefs. As mentioned, particular activation patterns are noted when the confirmation bias is active, but problems communicating between the two hemispheres, the right and left portion of the brain, may account for ascribing meaning to events where none exist, thus giving rise to the belief in and maintenance of conspiracy theories. Scientists posit that the right hemisphere may be involved in creating these associations, be it potentially true, like when it's humid and cloudy outside it's likely to rain, or false, like bots or fake accounts are found on social media. Some people are being mean to me online, therefore these people must be online bots. And it's the job of the left hemisphere to suppress or question these associations. Studies utilizing people with paranoid schizophrenia discovered key problems between communication between the left and right hemispheres of the brain. So it may be that in the absence of the more analytical, logical moderating influence of the left hemisphere, the right hemisphere may be creating association with little to no impediment, giving rise to the belief in and again a maintenance of conspiracy theories. Okay, I guess that's it. It's all in the brain, so if anyone believes in a conspiracy theory, there's nothing to be done. Well, not exactly. Our brains are susceptible to change. Researchers have found that engaging in analytical thinking with conspiracy theorists had a measurable effect in reducing the belief in the conspiracy. This may be because whenever one reinforces an idea or concept, we strengthen our connections between our cells within the brain. This strengthening of cell connections could have a more global effect and strengthen the connection between our left and right hemispheres. Whatever may be the case, what we can surmise is that one seemingly hardened in their beliefs may still be susceptible to change. On a more philosophical level, I want to note that while conspiracy theories tend to have a pretty negative connotation, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're wrong. Some may seem more outlandish than others, which would reduce the likelihood of these theories being the correct explanation for the co-occurrence of events. In fact, some conspiracy theories have been shown to be the correct explanation over time. Utilize your analytical skills and recognize the bias you bring when interpreting the world around you. Now that you know this information, are there any beliefs that you may think are now conspiracy theories? If so, comment below. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe to our channel and make sure to hit that like button. Also, thank you for watching.